Hello, I'm Perry from Rennet and Rind, and today I'm going to talk to you about the cheeses I selected for the box of the month of September. So you would have got one of these. Obviously, the most important part, you would have got your cheeses. So 5 British artisan cheeses, which I've selected for you. In the box, you would have got some tasting notes. So if you don't want to watch the video, you can do this. And you got some care guides on how to look after your cheese and how to get the best out of it. But yeah, this month we have like 3 new cheeses which aren't available on the website, and they're really, really special. And I started off with one and then the other, and I was like, oh, do you know what? These will all work together. So it's an extra treat because you've got 3 brand new cheeses that are made in the UK. So one of them is kind of come to fruition over the last 6 months. One more recently, like this one, Shilling, launched really quickly. And Burford has been something that David's been working on over the last year. So should we jump in and I'll tell you why I like these cheeses and why I've selected them? It's a good idea. So I'm known as a world cheese judge. I'm also Britain's first ever raffineer of the year. That's someone who matures cheese in these rooms. I control temperature, humidity, time, brushing, turning, to give the cheese just what it needs. And when you order, that's when my team, my fabulous team behind me, go, okay, let's cut all these on these days. So you get them ultra, ultra fresh. So let's jump into our first cheese. First cheese we have up is this little beauty called St. Helena. It's made by Blake in Suffolk. It's on the same site as Baron Bygone. So this uses the same milk as these puppies back here. Montbéliard cow milk, really rich, but this is a unpasteurized version of the cheese. And it's kind of like a move in between a Reblochon and a Saint-Nectaire, depending on the season, depending on how the cheese is, the milk is tasting. It kind of, for me, wavers between that area. Obviously, you get your biscuits as well. Forgot to mention that. Let's get them out of the way. So, yeah, so let's have a little kind of smell. That's what we want to do first. The aroma is very milky, and I know that sounds obvious, but quite light. A little bit of that kind of touch of mushroom, but not overpowering. You can see from this rind, so it's a wash rind cheese. It's a little bit more peachy. So as we get into the wetter winter months, it goes a little bit darker and you get a little bit more kind of mucor growth on there, which adds that mushroom. Not that much on there. If anything, you're getting a little bit of musty, a little bit of ferment that's in there. So let's have a taste. Texture, I love. It's like this weird juxtaposed kind of doesn't know where it's going to be. Salt, I love that. Really lifts the cheese, makes it far more complex. That milky element is all over that quality milk that's in there. Touch of that kind of farmness. When it leaves the palate, I'm getting a little bit more beefy that's in there, a little bit more savory. A really nice subtle cheese. So like, as I always say, I've put these cheeses in an order to get the maximum out of them. So this one is kind of subtle, good one to reel you in and get started. I think everyone would like that cheese, and that's why we've got it on first. So lovely, St. Helena, great cheese. Next cheese up we have is Old Winchester. Old Winchester is like a Gouda style, but it's got cheddar elements in there as well. So it's got this kind of nice plastic coat kind of rind on the outside that locks in the moisture, kind of typical of a Gouda style that's in there. Let's have a smell. Really kind of vibrant, really kind of, you're getting that cheddar tang that's in there, the acidity, really like mouth-watering, that aroma. Gets me really excited to try it. Visually, we can see this crystalline texture that's in there, so we're gonna get some crunch. If you don't get it in one bite, you definitely will get it in others. We can see that working around there. So that's just gonna be a nice mouthfeel. It's also, like as I say every time, it's about texture as well. Texture differential, not only flavors, to give your palate a new thing. So I'm gonna have a taste. Far more drier than the first cheese, but that kind of lift up of that zing, that kind of acidity. Although this has got a little bit of kind of age in it visually, it actually feels quite young. There's that citrusy kind of note that we're getting in there that I only get from Winchester and much younger. When it leaves the palate, that's when all the complexity comes in. That strength from a kind of beefy, Bovril kind of area that we mentioned previously, to that kind of nice, wholesome umami, soy sauce, kind of MSG kind of area. And it's really, really Moorish. Kind of makes you want to have more and more, which is great. I mean, that's a good one to like come back to. got good palate reset ability. So now we're into the last three new cheeses that brand new. This is a very cool cheese. This is made by Roger Longman, absolute legend in the cheese industry, and this is called Shilling. So it's a beautiful little crottin style. So crottin is on loads of menus in the UK, so I'm so excited to see that we've got a British alternative to it. In France, these kind of sit on the counter at various ages and you pick what age you want. This one's relatively young, but just so you're aware, there is a little bit of bluing that happens on the outside. That's perfectly natural with crottin. It's all natural, all safe, all good, just so you're aware. So we've got this beautiful kind of texture to cut through. A little bit of rind slip on the outside. Cheese World sometimes deems that as a negative. I do not. Got this bright interior, which is great, and this lovely geotrichum rind that's on there as well. Let me cut a little bit so it's more manageable for me. Very nice to cut. The cheese like glides, the knife glides through that. Got that farmyard goatee kind of edge that's in there, which is nice. You know, this is probably a goat's lover's cheese in that area. That freshness and that floral and that scent that it has is beautiful. Let's have a taste. I'm excited. Texture is wonderful. So refreshing. A lot of moisture in that, which kind of brings it into like a milky kind of vibe. Like you've just had a pint of milk and that's kind of around your palate. That floralness coming in so gently. And a little touch of, we described some of these cheeses, a little bit of pepperiness. That's there, it's wanting to be there, but doesn't get fully realized. So you just have a really nice, gentle experience, really nice on the palate. That's a beautiful cheese. I'm so happy that we finally got a British crottin. And I really hope we see this on loads of menus in the UK as a starter or something like that. I'm very, very excited about it. Shilling, beautiful cheese. Well done, White Lake. Keep on making tons of new cheeses. I think Roger is the largest artisan producer of loads of different cheese. He's absolutely nuts and just makes new cheeses and delivers at this level every time. Shilling, that's amazing. Next cheese we have up, which is really exciting, is from Kingstone Dairy. So Kingston, I went and saw them maybe about over a year ago. This is when they were beginning to move into a new make facility. And he had these giant vats that are from America, from Jasper Hill, and really wanting to embrace the seasonality on his farm. Or his cheese making thing, the milk is just from next door. And really kind of get that mountain style that we all crave so much. And yeah, we've been trying it over the last year, haven't quite got there, we believe. But this batch is there. It's got that typical mountain style to it. We can see it's washed on the outside. I mean, that is perfection. If you're into kind of cheese making, look at how thin that rind is on the outside. We're really getting there, like in the UK, making these really kind of unique styles, and it just delivers so much more. So let's have a little on the aroma. We've got that kind of warmth that comes through, a little bit of that savory edge, that funk, that fermentation funk that's in there from the rind and the washing. These kind of corners are just so perfect. Let's have a taste. Texture is beautiful. It is like a Conte style, a mountain style cheese, where that rigidity that you get in the texture quickly dissipates. It becomes quite chewy. At the same time, it just keeps on kind of removing, like kind of dissipating so well. And that kind of toastiness, that nuttiness that's in there is just stunning. So compact, so dense on the texture. It's got a degree of clagginess in a good way. Sticks in the gums. I mean, this, excuse me, this is a cheese to watch out for. It's literally everything that we've been looking to get into the artisan cheese industry in the UK. Having that mountain style is just so rare in the UK because we're not that mountainous. And we've got the beginnings of it here, which we should all be excited about. So we're going to be really supporting this cheese, watching its development, and hopefully like 5 or 10 years time, we can look back and say like, this is where it all began. This is where we really elevated our British artisan cheese to another level. Burford, amazing. Well done, Kingstone Dairy. That is a phenomenal cheese. And finally, your last new cheese to us. So this is made by Ben and Sam Spence, lovely people from the Yorkshire Dales. You may know them from making an amazing style called Yourdow, which is a proper pre-war recipe of Wensleydale. Last Christmas, we were talking about new cheeses and what they could do. And in conjunction with a place called Courtyard Dairy, they come up with this invention. So essentially a blue Wensleydale. So we've got this beautiful colour, this annatto to get into the milk. It's a colouring essentially, all natural. Give it that distinct difference from a normal Wensleydale. And then inoculate the milk with some Penicillium Roqueforti. And the way you get bluing in cheese is that you iron it, you put little perforations in the side, you'll be able to see that there. That allows oxygen to rush in, and Penicillium Roqueforti goes, I quite like this, I'm going to turn blue to let you know that I like it. So really nice to see a hybrid of styles. So we've got a little bit of crumble there, but not as much as I would expect from a Wensleydale, which is quite interesting. Aroma, God, really fruity. You've got that kind of a zip, that kind of, that's in Wensleydale, which kind of is more in conjunction with a floral kind of style, but a little bit more leaning into that area of potential astringency. So that slight bit of bitterness that's in there, letting you know that it's a blue and a fresh cheese. Let's have a taste. So different. Really gets you there. Kind of hits you in that kind of area that I'm talking about. Really strong. It's so interesting to have a blue cheese that embraces the bitterness of blue cheese these days. We're moving far more to savoury styles. And as that kind of floral ferment kind of lifts, you get left with like a really nice kind of peppy, piquancy that's on the palate. That's delicious. That's like a proper blue. You know, it doesn't do what other blue cheeses do, where you kind of pander to the people that like less blue. It kind of says, I'm here, I'm going to be a little bit bitter, a little bit astringent. That's lovely, I like that a lot. I mean, you've got 5 amazing cheeses there. These are amazing, but these brand new cheeses that have never been on the UK shelves are here, and they're just showing up. I could just eat, well, you can see I'm just eating them all day. And then when you've done your 5 in order, just start coming back to them. Start trying different combos, and you'll see how they change throughout that journey. Really fantastic. So happy with these cheeses. And that's a lot from me. So thank you so much for supporting us yet again in September. We love doing this. We love supporting the British artisan cheese industry. And it's, you know, it's coming up to a lot of years since I've been doing these boxes. And the quality that we have in the UK is just superb. And all I have to say is just keep on buying British cheese, eh? That's, we're only going to get better when we put money behind it. And honestly, all these cheeses and all these cheesemakers absolutely love what they do. And the best way to say, do you know what, we like what you do too, is by buying their cheeses. So outstanding work, okay? Enjoy, and I'll see you next month. Bye-bye.